It's Tremendous Thursday, and we're going to be doing the second chapter of this fabulous, fabulous treasure that I found in my library. If you want to hear chapter 1, you can go on my page, and it's there from yesterday. But this is a treasure. This is written in 1935. There would not be really The Secret, Law of Attraction. A lot of these, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer's got principles from material that was created way back when. So this is the foundation. This is Frances Wilshire is the author of this, but also there's Charles Fillmore, Myrtle Fillmore, Norman Vincent Peale was very good back in the day too. He was very spiritual. Of course, and I love Florence Scovel Shinn, who I really am a Shinn baby because I've adopted all the principles and I teach it in my life coaching sessions because it does transform your life in every way, shape, and form. So we're going to read the 3 vital laws. And this isn't a real long chapter, but these laws are so important, and I think you can identify with them because it's come out into the universe over the last, I would say, 20 years. When The Secret came out, I was kind of really disappointed because I knew about the law of attraction back in 1978 from Florence Scovel Shinn, which was written in 1925. So the theory doesn't change, but you do want to go back to the old teachers. They're the best because they're the foundation. There's no jazzing up. There's no fudging. There's no, dalliance about it. So without further ado, let's do the 3 vital laws. And the first one, guess what? Law of Attraction, 1935. Let's see if I don't know if you can see that, 1935. The law of attraction is the most vital and fascinating law. I wholeheartedly agree. Now, I want to teach you clearly and definitely that this law is and how to use it. If you wish to make anything attractive to yourself or to others, you make it so romantic, interesting, beautiful, and intriguing that its own attractiveness is the power to attract. In this way, you touch or arouse the feeling of emotional nature. Whenever you succeed in arousing the emotions, you have made an impression which is not soon forgotten. You have then the interest and attention of a person and will get a spontaneous answer or reaction. People do not remember you by any intellectual idea or concept you may have been given them, but more subtle emotional impression you may have made, consciously or unconsciously. It is what one thinks about you after you have left him that counts. Boy, is that the truth. To present anything in an attractive way, you must always be persuasive. I got to stop here for a minute because it's cracking me up. I was in sales for 35 years and, in conversations, socially, out and about, and even when I belonged to the Chamber of Commerce or I talked in front of chambers of commerce and different professional groups, and they said, I could never be a salesperson. And I would start laughing hysterically. We're all salespeople. From the moment you put your foot in the door and you say, hello, my name is. Okay? Your dentist is the best salesperson you're ever going to meet in your life. Okay? Everybody's a salesperson. But it gets a bad connotation of people who are not ethical. Okay? There's the kicker. What are your ethics? What are your values? What are your morals? All right, I just had to flip that in there, though, but that always cracks me up. So, To present anything in an attractive way, you must always be persuasive. Never be aggressive or dominating. Dominance always has an undercurrent of fear, selfishness, and a desire to control, thereby losing at once all attracting power. That's pretty powerful. Real attraction is to win or woo what you want to an irresistible power. Here's the secret. The greatest power of attraction is to know God. Love is the activity of God within you. So when your heart is filled with love, you will be irresistibly attractive with a divine attraction, which not only attracts, but holds. It holds. There's a physical, mental, and spiritual attraction, the greatest of all being spiritual attraction, which you've heard that, and that's all been copied into many of these other books and tapes and streams and you name it. You know, it comes from really the Wilshires, the Shins, the Fillmores, the Norman Vincent Peales. Everybody, every one of those had a very strong spiritual foundation, but yes, also the most positive attitudes. There's a physical, mental, and spiritual attraction, the greatest of all being spiritual attraction. Then you attract by that mystical emotion, which only the heart can interpret. Its attracting power is instant, complete, and sustained. A part of the law of freedom is the next one. So we have the law of attraction, and the second vital law is the law of freedom. Boy, how apropos is that for today? 1935. Okay, let's study the law of freedom. A part of and inseparable from the law of attraction is the law of freedom. The use of the law will in itself cause you to be a magnet of attraction. Here's a point I want you to remember always. The same law you use to bring anything or any person into your life is the law by which you hold that thing or that person. Therefore, when a person is won by the law of attraction, he has come into your life of his own free will and will stay through that same power of attraction. That gives him a sense of freedom, and freedom is life. Would you take another person's freedom? You take his life. Let me repeat that. With the law of freedom, which is the second vital law, when you take another person's freedom, you take his life. Hi, Alicia. The urge of every living soul is towards freedom. The average person finds it much easier to get than to hold. Love comes unseen. We only see it go. Love lives only in freedom. How do you like that one? That's very, very powerful. If you ingest that, okay? If you really, truly ingest that, love lives only in freedom. We could talk for hours on that one. That is very powerful. Its nature is to give of itself. That which is bound or held loses the freedom of its own nature, and therefore will at once look for some avenue of escape. Remember, God gave man complete freedom. Should you do less? God expects man to keep the integrity of his being, not to lose it. You violate the integrity when you try to hold or possess another, and do not give him freedom. What you give up, you get. How do you like that one? By giving everything its freedom, you win it. It's hard to realize that the thing that binds you is the thing that frees you. When you free any limiting thoughts or feelings, then their binding power or influence is gone, and and a sense of freedom you never knew before. Say to yourself, I stand fearless and free in God's love for me. This affirmation makes you seem to stand right up with yourself and become free and positive. Something then supports you, and you stop supporting the thing you do not want. That is the secret right there. Something that supports you, and you stop supporting the thing you do not want. Near to renunciation, very near, dwelleth eternal peace, said Sir Edwin Arnold. Lend yourself to the law of freedom, and then you will not only give freedom, but you will be free. Isn't that amazing? 1935 here, folks. The third law. Okay, so the first law was the law of attraction, and then we had the law of freedom. And now, the third law, the law of balance and equilibrium. Science will tell you that the universal balance is so exact that not a grain of sand shifts, but that at once the whole world balance is readjusted. Your perfect balance or your equilibrium should be equally important if you are or to have a harmonious and satisfactory life. Your balance is found by what we call the law of spiritual equilibrium, which means half to yourself and half to the world. The first half, which is to give to yourself, is so essential that without it the second half becomes impossible for attainment. You must first give your entire attention to the improvement, the knowledge, and the development of yourself. You must spend your time, your effort, your money first on yourself. See, no one teaches you that, but we did that in the first chapter, you see? And that's why the you is so important, and that's why the title of the book is so important. For you must first have strength, vitality, wisdom, or money to be able to give and thereby to fulfill the second half, which in other words is service. You cannot take out of the bag what is not in it. You cannot give unless you have something to give. If you receive is only with your hands, you must first have the strength and the health, or you will be unable to do your work. If you are to serve the world through some kind of teaching, you can do so only by first getting the knowledge or wisdom yourself. If you are to serve with money, you must have that money. This is pure logic, and this is the principle behind the old saying of the wise, which is one of my very, very favorite sayings, and I teach it on a daily basis. To thy own self be true. Let me repeat that. To thy own self be true. And let me interject here before I go further. The word selfish should be removed from your vocabulary, your mind, and the dictionary, because it limits you from learning to love yourself, forgive yourself, embrace yourself, give yourself a lift up. So I think that's very, very important, and I do teach that in my life coaching, because it's all about how can we make ourselves a better person? What do we need to change? What do we need to let go? What can we embellish? What can we learn to adopt a new way of processing or thinking or loving? It's very important. So the next part is misplaced or false sympathy is one of the greatest pitfalls to upset the law of balance. That's pretty powerful. If a man is in trouble, your sympathy will do him no good. The only possible way you can help him is by supporting him with your strength. Very powerful. Everywhere we see the mother who gives all to her children. On the face of it, that appears to be very noble and an unselfish act. But follow it through and see what are the results. The mother loses her health, her looks, her money, and in the end, even the respect and admiration of the very children for whom she has given all. Then people say, what selfish, unappreciative children. Not at all. The mother is to blame. She violated the first fundamental law of her own nature, the law of equilibrium. This is always the double danger that the sacrifice will not only destroy one's own welfare, but also weaken the very person whom one is trying to help. That's a bingo right there. Law is never sentimental, but it is always just. And it is no respecter of persons. Let me read that again. Law is never sentimental, but it is always just and is no respecter of persons. The mother overgave. Many people believe it's impossible to overgive, but it is just as possible, just as weak, just as unimbalanced to overgive. Although I admit it, it's not so common as to undergive. The opposite of this is the person who takes and takes, who hoards his strength, wisdom, and money, trying to hold on all he can and to give nothing. The result is selfish, loveless, unsatisfactory life. I hear you, Alicia, believe me. Balance is the keynote. Take and give, ebb and flow, work and rest. Keep in the midstream of life. Be keen, alive, and alert to your own good, as well as the good of others. Say to yourself, the best in myself for the world, and the best in the world for me. That's a powerful affirmation. Let me read that again. The best in myself for the world, and the best in the world for me. Now that you understand the wisdom of the law, I know you will use it, and you will swing right into its glorious rhythm. Obey the law, and it's your friend. Where there's no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. That's in Proverbs. So that is our three vital laws. The law of attraction, the law of freedom, which I thought was a very powerful one. I could go over this many, many times. And I think the most phenomenal things, these beautiful, treasured, gorgeous principles were out in 1935. I just blows my mind. But I'm going to do some cards because I like to give daily messages or whatever. So Alicia's been right through our book tonight. I was hoping to have a little bit bigger audience, but hopefully the replay will be able to share the wisdom of the three vital laws of life that I think are so, so important. So I'm going to shuffle these cards here. Alicia, and see, because usually messages come through of just what you need to have, when you need to have it. And then, of course, my spirit guides always, let's see, I'm going to leave that there, come through with what else I have to embellish on it or tell you. So, let's see here. All right. Well, let's see the one that flew out, because that, when cards fly out of a deck, it's really a special message. And this is pretty powerful. I'll show you this card. It is just phenomenal. Oh, thank you, Alicia. I do a lot of praying to do this work. Okay. And this is the Raven. And the raven is really a shaman. And for those of you that don't know what a shaman is they go on the spiritual quest. They do a tremendous amount of study. They're here to benefit mankind. They're healers in a lot of different forms. So it's not, let's see what it says here. You are the creator and the magician. Use your gifts for good. There's a power in your wisdom and your words. Connect with the element spirits and glide through the world. Claim your place as a keeper of the mysteries. Well, we're studying the mysteries, really. The hidden knowledge, you know. Here's this book from 1935, Alicia, and I guarantee you that wasn't in some, where was that? Was that in a church? No. But somebody, and it was lost knowledge. So how we got back to this 1935 and these vital laws, which I hope you all go on the replay because this is a very powerful chapter, right? The law of attraction, which explains from 1935 what the law of attraction is. All these other authors that jumped and, took piecemeals of things. The law of freedom. And then the third law, the law of balance and equilibrium. There's some juicy things here, folks, for us to embellish, especially now with a lot of things we're experiencing. This is wisdom that could have been lost. This has been in my bookcase for over 30 years. So it's a lost treasure, really, truly. And I don't believe it's in print anymore, but it would be great if it was. Okay, so let's see what else I got for you, Alicia. I've got the giraffe, and the giraffe is the visionary, and that's to look beyond what you see. In other words, positive gets positive, negative gets negative, right? So this is rise above earthly matters, and I knew that's what this meant without even looking at the card, because a lot of times we can go through things, people, places, and things that have either been a great treasure or a tremendous lesson, and the lessons a lot of times can be painful. But by the same token, too, if it was a lesson that wasn't pleasant or was disappointing or was hurtful, it's really God's way of saying, okay, what did you learn from that experience? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Let's put your foot in front of the other here. Okay? But I highly recommend the replay because there's some very powerful wisdom. So rise above earthly matters, glide through life with grace. You are able to see the right path. Stand tall in your self-worth and love with a big heart. And I know that's true for you. So I really truly believe that's really great. And let's see, let's do an Archangel Gabriel card too, because let's see what wisdom we can put out in the universe today. I think that's always good to have a little angelic influence in our lives. I truly believe that. But I also like the wisdom of the Native American shamans with animals, because they really are treasures, and their gifts and their special messages. That's lost knowledge as well. Okay, so let's see what Archangel Gabriel has to say for all of us today that'll apply. This is really good. It's this is body, mind, spirit stuff that I teach. It's detox time. And this is release toxins from the body, mind, and diet. But, I think when you go body, mind, diet, that's body, mind, spirit too, right? So, let's think about what's really positive and what's negative, so that when we know what the negatives are, that's what we need to release and work on. Because negative gets negative and positive gets positive, right? Right. Okay. And, this goes with our lesson today. Inspiration. And this is really great because if you really look at this is to really be inspired And it says, take action according to set it into motion. In other words, an invention would never happen if it didn't start with an idea, right? Or a thought. So, thoughts are things, make them positive. Okay? And one more, and we'll see what else we're gonna... This goes with equilibrium, our law of equilibrium and balance. Vulnerability. If we have boo-boos or we get our feelings hurt or that type of thing, well, guess what? We become vulnerable, but it's how we process this. So listen to your vulnerable feelings as they contain wisdom and inspiration, and then pray for strength to focus on your priorities no matter what. You can't live in fear and think that you have faith, because that doesn't work. Fear cancels out faith. So I will leave you guys with that. I hope the replay gets seen, because I think the lost wisdom of this beautiful treasure, 1935. This is what they don't teach you in any school. Right? I know, it does make sense. So, I hope you have a beautiful evening. I'm sending blessings. And tune in tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to get into the art of relaxation. That ought to be interesting. So, 7 o'clock tomorrow, we will be on to this next chapter. And the chapter after that is called Blessings. Just a little preview. All right, so have a good evening. Go forth, do good. All right? Love yas.